Games today can blow up out of nowhere. One day, having absolutely no players, and the next, completely breaking records. But just as fast as they grow, they seem to disappear even faster. So I have to ask, what happened to the games that started off hot but completely disappeared? The games that you grinded for a week to never touch again. The games that had you thinking that this might be the next big thing. That's what I'm going to find out so you don't have to. So let's find out what happened to Deadlock. There was a moment in time where Deadlock felt like it really was that game, even though it was an invite-only alpha. Anyone who had access was playing it, and everyone who didn't wanted to. I mean, even Shroud would not stop playing Deadlock, even though a game he invested money in, Spectre Divide, just released. That is how much of a pull Deadlock had at that time. But at some point that all changed and people stopped playing. Why? That doesn't matter. But what does is how it's doing now. So the first thing to check on any game that you haven't played in a while is how have they updated the game? Have they fixed bugs? Improved the game? Added any new characters? New mechanics? Essentially, what's new? And with Deadlock, if you haven't played it since its initial popularity, there's a lot. The first major change I noticed was that they got rid of an entire lane on the map, which is kind of big because it means there's no more solo lanes. I personally haven't played enough to judge if that's a good or bad thing, but it does bring Deadlock more in line with the current MOBA standards. They've also added a decent amount of new characters: Calico, Holiday, Sinclair, and Viper, as well as update and work on the characters they've had. I mean, look at McGinnis. This is what she used to look like. And most recently, they reworked the entire shop. If you want all the details, here they are if you'd like to read them. But visually, it looks way better than it used to. It feels like the devs have been constantly working on Deadlock, which is what you should expect from an alpha, but it's still nice to see that there is progress being made on the game. The next important aspect of a game is the community, as they can make, break, and even carry a game. So how is Deadlock's community looking? Honestly, not too bad. When the game was really popular, it was looking like the Deadlock community was going the way of League of Legends. Unnecessarily toxic. But it seems that because of its fall off, it never reached that point. Coming back to it, I don't think I've run into an extremely toxic player yet. I could have just been lucky, but it could also be because the people who are left playing Deadlock are playing it because they simply want to. They don't feel like they have to. So naturally, they're inclined to be less toxic. But I also didn't play any ranked. I'm sure there's some toxicity there. It's a given. Overall, how is Deadlock and the future of the game looking? Better than expected from a game that lost a ton of its players. Usually, when a game goes through a blow up, then a hard fall off, they die. They are not long for the gaming world. But Deadlock is still actively being worked on and developed because it's an alpha. If anything, it's probably a good thing that the game fell off from the hype. Mainly because it lets them focus on making and improving the game. So when they decide that Deadlock is finally ready to full drop, players who only played during its initial popularity will be impressed. Because I'm impressed with all they've changed already. So I can only imagine how the game will look during the full launch. And that's what's been up with Deadlock. And if you enjoyed, like, comment, subscribe, and thanks for watching.
I need a way to fix on my heart, but there ain't a bandage to cover these scars. Keep using my kindness, 'cause that's who you are.